There's no Aston Martin Pro-Am today, as Jaden is reserving in place of Speedy Bullet, who's unfortunately not with us as his mum's not well. So all the best to Speedy Bullet and his mum. Let's see who is first out. It looks like Ninjas in the AlphaTauri. A few more coming up on track now. Standard 18 minutes qualifying session today. That's very bright. Why am I so bright? Camera's adjusting a bit. Just seems to be coming up very bright today. I'll have to tinker with it at some point. I'm not going to do that now, as I'm just hoping for a stable internet connection. As you saw last week, we missed the end of the race. Apologies for that. UJ, the driver of the day and the race winner, as Ninja starts the first hot lap of the session. A little bit wide there, but doesn't invalidate. Maybe he thought he had at one point there. And this could well be another warm-up lap now, rather than actually fully going for it. You can see he's warming his tyres again. So we'll leave him and go to sign. Skippy has left. Hopefully someone can get Skippy back in. Alright, I'm cast with a ghost on this cam at the moment. Ninja sets a 1:37.6, but I think he'll be looking to improve on that. I think the whole time around here is around the 1:30 mark, usually. We'll have more of an idea once we see the time that Syme sets as a traditional front runner. Well, the last corner he goes, long straight this one to the line, and it's a 1:29.8 for Syme. Hello to Cam, thank you for Tab. Good evening, Bazza, in the chat as well. Of course, join us later on as Blobby Mondays goes to Monaco. It's a short journey for me tonight between France and Monaco. Spoonie 129.9. He's got ridiculous pace for a Pro-Am. Brad 130.3. Senna 130.6. Easy Life 131.2. In goes UJ 129.5. Let's go and see where Sloth is as he goes into sector 2. UJ 129.5. King Kong also on the board with a 130.3.
Tab 2.
Hello to Jonathan in the chat. Thank you for tab 1 and 2. We have a full grid here and an almost full grid in Monaco later on. Nobody with the Monaco flu, as Swanton does his usual second out lap, so we'll ignore that 145. Mr. Pickle on the board there, 131.9. So just 3 of them at the moment under the 130 mark. Here comes Sloth. Can he make it a third? No, he cannot. It's a 132.1 for him, and he will hope to improve on that.
I will do as good as I did last season, lol.
Was it you that won last season, Jonathan, at Monaco? I can't remember. I know I ended up in a wall, probably. Usually what happens with Monaco to me. Smugs on the board, 131.0.
Fourth, I won Mexico.
Ah, yes, Mexico was the one. Here is Jaden. A very lively reserve, as we've got, of course, lively reserve in Blobby Mondays, Dean Pryor, who won a couple of races ago. He's in a Ferrari later on, and we'll hope to boost the ailing points total of the Ferrari team in Blobby Mondays. Swanton goes to P3 with a 129.8. Here comes Jaden. And what's he going to do here? Pole position for Jaden. Provisional pole, 129.1. Jaden puts the Aston Martin at the front. Here is Joker. As Sloth improves to a 130.2. Here King Kong, usually very evenly matched, one of the most evenly matched teams on the grid. Max is on his way on an outlap. We'll stay with Joker. And Joker comes across the line, 130.3 for Joker. And that's P8 at the moment. Here's Sainsy, the Alpine. That's Harley cheering on Syme in the chat. What was that just buzzed? Getting a message at the same time there. So the grid starting to take shape. Al Newt there, 132.5. Ninja's on his way out for another go, as are a few others. We'll stay with Sainsy and then join Max as he starts his hot lap. And we'll go on board shortly as Sainsy comes up to the line. And it's 130.9 for Sainsy and P12. On board with Max. So Max will be looking in the sub 130 section for sure. 50 Jenk goes over 132.0. That's P15. Max will certainly be looking to get in that top 5 in the under 130s. Colin and Skippy also out on track for their maiden hot laps. Here comes Max up towards the line, and it's a 129.4 and P2 for Max World. Here comes Skippy, 131.5 puts him in 17th, and Colin has invalidated, so he'll have to go again. Right, laptop is trying to update itself, so please don't do that now, thank you. Here's UJ, and he's 3/10 up. In fact, he's just completed his lap, sorry, 129.1, was 3/10 up, it's now P2 ahead of Max. Syme also improved, 129.5, as did Brad, 129.8. Spoonie's well down on his time. Brad's taking all kinds of shortcuts to get back to the pits. Not sure how much of that is allowed, but I'll leave that with the rulebook. Senna way down in P12 at the moment. Just ahead of his teammate as well, Ninjas, who's improved to 13th with a 130.6. And he's on an invalid. Al Newton to the pits. Here is Smug, he's down on his time. Skippy as well. So here's Colin. And we go on board with Colin as he's the last one to set a time with 5 minutes left in the session. Good evening to Baker in the chat. Let me know if you fancy coming in and spectating on the game again as you did last week, or if you fancy racing, as we do have a spare seat available this evening. Colin 130.6, and that's P14 behind the Alpha Tauris. We're going to take the escape road now. Joker back out and going again. Just a little lull before the last few minutes of the session. We've got one of the most likely tracks to see everybody finish here in France, and then later on one of the least likely in Monaco. That's perfect, Baker. I will send you the invite as usual, and you will take the Williams, vacated by Grace this evening. Here is Joker in the Ferrari. Can he get into that top seven now, who are under 130? Yes, he can. P5. 129.8 for Joker. A few more now out on track, including Swanton, King Kong, Easy Life as well. Most of whom have invalidated. Not long left now. Just a couple of minutes. So outlaps for the majority. We will try and catch them going over the line once the checkered flag goes out. That's in 2 minutes' time. Yes, Baker Williams for you this evening. Grace's car, as Grace is not in. And Dean has already been given the Ferrari. So full grid then for both races this evening. Always good to see. Joker invalidated. Let's see. Here goes Swanton. This will be a hot lap for him. Yep, no worries, Baker. Always welcome when we've got a spot, mate. Swanson then. Is he going to manage to improve on his current P7? The top 8 now in under the 130. Checkered flag is out. We go to the line with Swanton. 129.5. Slight improvement, P5 for him. Now let's try and see who's coming across the line. Colin is out of here. He's had enough. The other Haas is Spoonie. Here he comes. Spoonie to P6. Then we've got Senna improves to P9 under the 130 mark. Here comes Syme. 129.4 for Syme, P3. UJ. 129.0 for UJ. Provisional pole. Can Jaden do it? Max is in the pits. He's not going to do it. Jaden had a wobble. I don't think he's going to do it. He does do it. 128.8 for Jaden. Brad's got into the pits. That's going to be it. Jaden and UJ swapping places on the front row in the last seconds. Jaden takes pole, 128.8 from UJ's 129.0. Then it's Simon, Max, Swanton and Spoonie, Joker and Brad, Senna and Sloth. You had to be under 130 to get in the top 9. Definitely got to watch Squid. Definitely improving. I'll be impressed to see if she can finish this evening. With it being Monaco, I can never bloody finish it. So we shall see there. With the danger that Monaco possesses, of course, it could be one where you've only got to finish to get a point. So we shall see. Anyway, we've got a race here in France before we think of Monaco, and it's Jaden from UJ, Simon Maxwell, Swanton, Spoonie, the top Pro-Am again in qualifying, then Joker, Brad Mason, Senna and Sloth rounding off the top 10. King Kong, Ninjas, Sainsy, Colin, Al Newt, Smug way down in 17th. Skippy 18, Easy Life 19 and 50 Gent at the back of the field. As always, we have a little pause, during which time I will find the standings for you. We'll charge her up. Perfect. Okay, looks like I am going football tomorrow because someone's offered me a lift. Fantastic. What was I doing? That's right, I was doing standings. Championship standings. That's what we want to see. The overall standings after the one race sees UJ top of the pile ahead of Sime, Swanton, Max and Joker. That's your top 5. The team standing sees Alpine top of the pile from Haas, with Williams and Alfa Romeo Ferrari all on their tail, all within 5 points. And the Pro-Am sees Spoonie top from King Kong, Smug, Sainsy and 50 Gent. Spoonie taking the pole. The win. And now another pole. Pole in Bahrain and a win for Spoonie in the Pro-Am. Pole again today. Is he going to get another win? Overall pole was Max last week, and he ended up finishing 4th. The drivers as they set their strategies and fuel loads. No Millwall tomorrow night, Baker. No, I am off to Shoaling now with Hendon. I was hoping to go because it's a new ground, but I wasn't going to go because it's a pain in the arse to get home from. But a kind person on the Hendon group chat has just said they'll drop me back to a tube station so I can get home. So that works for me. So off to Shoaling tomorrow. I won't be heading to Dundee for the 3rd attempt of the postponed Rangers game that could end up being in Perth on Wednesday. Big game that. I think Grimsby just about safe now, but another win for you will probably doom Sutton. It's a shame, as I wanted both you and Sutton to stay up. Those watching is wondering what I'm on about. Baker, a big Colchester United supporter. And a big relegation battle in League 2 at the moment. I think Forest Green are gone now after being spanked by Wrexham. And I think It's between Colchester and Sutton now, with Grimsby having won a couple of games. But they've beat them, and you never know, they could still jump back in. Oh, drank that quite quick today. Good job I brought a water bottle as well. So as always, folks, get your race predictions in the chat. Who are you cheering on? Take through tyre choices as we go on the formation lap. And it's a good mix once again with the front two. Jaden and UJ both on hards. Then the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sim, Max, Swanson, Spoonie and Joker all on mediums. Brad on the hards in P8. Senna, Sloth, Mr. Pickle and King Kong all on mediums. Then we find our first soft runner is Ninjas in P13. Sainsy in 14 is on the mediums. Colin on the softs. Quite a low start for him. He'll be hoping to come through the field. Al Newt and Smug going on the hards, looking for longevity. Skippy on the softs. And the back two, Easy Life and 50 Gent. They are on the medium tyre. Hoping Barnett or Bromley come up with Chesterfield. I'd like to see Bromley do it. Good Millwall connections there. And Barnett, nice and easy journey from me anyway. Have to have a look who else is in that playoff picture. Soft medium or medium hard, 1 stoppers according to the game. Big gap forming behind Brad. Senna taking his time. As everyone snakes round on the formation lap. Let's see what kind of view the game gives us. If it gives us a crap one, of course, we go on board. If it gives us a good view, then we'll stick with it. As we start to get parked up then. How many DQs for parking are we going to have today? Be amazed if it's none. There's Sainsy. Looks like he may be the only one. Indeed. So here we go. We don't see the lights, but we hear them. Out they go, and it looked like UJ got a better start than Jaden. And indeed, UJ's going to take the lead here, is he? He's round the outside. And no, Jaden managed to keep it. Jaden managed to keep it despite UJ's better time off the line. And now look at Sim in behind UJ. Is everyone going to get round okay? Joker there ahead of Senna. Up the inside is Brad, who's lost a couple of places. And it seems that everybody has made it through so far. Mr. Pickle and Brad now side by side. Sim at the front. Going for UJ early doors. Up the inside. Sim takes the place. P2 from UJ. Brad has dropped now to P10 as he's passed by Mr. Pickle. So everybody managing to get through so far. 50 Gent up a couple of places from the back of the field. He's in P18 now. Jaden leads from Sim, UJ, Max World, Swanton, then Spoonie holding his own with the pros at the moment. Just lacked that consistency last season. He always had the pace, but just lacked the consistency to get the finishes that he needed. He's the top dog in the Pro-Am this season so far. All those consistency issues continue to cost him. We'll have to wait and see. Smug's up a couple of places. He's up to P13 and Colin is up to P12. Good start for those two. Bad start for the Mercedes. King Kong and Sloth both down 14 and 15. With Sainsy and Skippy just behind. Syme could be going for the lead here, and is. Syme takes the lead of the race. P1 for the Alpine. Ninja's having a go at Brad here. And Ninja's makes the move. Jaden retakes the lead. And almost contact there, as Colin now has a go at Brad. Real struggle for Brad on this opening stint. And Colin's going to take P11. Skippy passes Sainsy. Or does he? They're side by side. We've got to stay with the leaders right now. Skippy's picked up a penalty and Brad's into the pits. So obviously Brad had some kind of problem as UJ sets the fastest lap of the race. Is that a new front wing for Brad as he drops to last? No, it's just the hard tyres. No, it is a front wing. Sainsy picks up a penalty. So Brad did have some wing damage, and that's what caused him to drop down the field, and he's now last of all. Syme again is going to go for Jaden into the chicane, and Syme once again takes the lead of the race. Syme into the lead, Colin into the top 10. Smug and Sloth side by side. King Kong trying to get involved as well behind his teammate. Smug keeping ahead of the Mercedes pair. And now Sainsy getting involved as well, going around the outside. Right round the outside and gets it done on King Kong. Good move by Sainsy. Really good scrapping. Syme sets the fastest lap of the race now as he's kept the lead. This time round, here's two we haven't mentioned yet, Mr. Pickle and Senna. P9 and 8, Mr. Pickle chasing Senna. As Smug and Sloth are at it again. These two, of course, teammates last season and pretty inseparable then. Now Pro-Am rivals. In fact, now not Pro-Am rivals, as King Kong is the Pro-Am in the Mercedes. Sloth, the Pro-Am champion, of course, promoted. Smug still staying in front just. Mr. Pickle making a move on Senna. And Senna had a bit of a wobble right at the end there. And Colin might get involved as well. The Mercedes have now both managed to get past Smug. And up the inside goes Colin on Senna. And Senna on Mr. Pickle. And they all managed to get through without any contact. King Kong's lost a couple of places there to Smug and Sainsy. Really can't keep up at the moment. Everybody's so tight. Still, the top 7 all within a second of the car in front. Then a gap to Mr. Pickle. who's got Senna, Colin, and now Ninjas as well, right in behind. And look at the move here for Senna, up the inside, and passes Mr. Pickle again for P8. Senna, Mr. Pickle, Colin, Ninjas. This battle. Bit wide there for Ninjas. Might cost him a little bit of time. But Colin dropped back a bit there, and I think Mr. Pickle's going to make the move on Senna. Mr. Pickle back up to P8. Sainsy and King Kong go for Smug. 3 wide again, and Smug cut across. And King Kong lost out there to Skippy, who may fancy a go at Smug as well. Side by side again. I'll have to go the long way round if he's going to do it. And Smug holds position on that occasion. And now across the curb goes Skippy and picks up a penalty. Penalty for Skippy. 50 Gent now going for the pass. And look at 50 Gent stick a wheel up the try and go around the outside. Skippy leaves him room. And Skippy keeps the place. Easy life now passing King Kong, who's really started to struggle. Did he get damage? No visual damage there. But then there wasn't on Brad's either. Bit of a lonely race at the back at the moment for Brad. Syme leads from Jaden. We're on lap 6 of 27. UJ in third. Max World in fourth. Swanton, Spoonie, Joker. Then a big gap to Mr. Pickle, who's got Senna, Colin, Ninjas chasing him. Jaden within half a second now, as are the cars behind. Look at this. They're all very close together at the moment. Could this be advantageous to Jaden and UJ on the hard tyres? Because they'll be able to go longer and potentially have fresher soft tyres at the end. Penalty was picked up there by King Kong. Look at this. DRS train comes down the main straight to start lap 7. Very, very close racing from all of them at the moment. Swanton getting the closest to Max World, but can he find a pass? Because in a DRS train, very difficult to make an overtake stick unless your rival makes a mistake, because they're all going to get DRS down this straight into the chicane. Max goes defensive to the inside just to make sure. They all come through. Senna, Colin and Ninjas now can't get back to Mr. Pickle at the moment. The raciness of the soft tyre for Colin and Ninjas seems to be coming to an end compared to the mediums around them. The Mercedes have now settled in 12 and 16. A bit of a gap between them now. Another lap goes by without any change in the order, but still with the front 7 all in a line, as you can see. Syme cannot get away, but he's holding the lead at the moment. Max now getting close to the back of UJ. All 20 still running here as we come to about a third of the way through the race. Skippy passing Smug for P14. King Kong is right there as well. Max having a look, but nothing doing at the moment. Jaden maybe went a little wide in front. It didn't cost him anything. He's closing again, is Jaden. But not enough to try and make a pass on Syme just yet. Spoonie now starting to drop away a little from the front five, who are just relentless at the moment. All of them. All within half a second of the car in front. Spoonie then just behind, a second away. Excuse me. As we start lap 9. And Skippy has lost a few places. That's because he's in the pits. But he's got a 5-second speeding penalty. So the first one to pit for new tyres. Of course, other than Brad at the back. So Skippy into the pit lane. It's UJ this time looking to get a run on Jaden. Still nothing doing. Syme, Jaden, UJ so close together, all looking for openings. King Kong passes Smug and up to P14. Difficult afternoon for Smug so far. Swanton still there behind Max. Smug gets King Kong back. Certainly an eventful one for him. Colin's got a penalty on the board. I didn't see that as it happened. We'll look at the penalties shortly. Smug into the pits as Colin into the top 10 ahead of Ninjas. Smug going into the pits off the hard tyre. So maybe he got some damage. Indeed he did. And out he goes. And he's going to rejoin right near the back, if not at the back. UJ up the inside of Jaden. Into P2 goes UJ. UJ gets the move. Jaden swarming all over him to try and get it back. He's got UJ in front as well. Look how close they are. Look how close the front three. Nose to tail. In fact, include Max in that because he is right there as well, as is Swanton behind. Spoonie has dropped back a little bit. He's got Joker for company. They've opened a big gap now to Mr. Pickle, who still leads Senna. Colin has dropped away from Senna and has Ninjas and Sloth for company. I think the soft tyre's starting to go off for Colin. Smug has rejoined in last place and now has to set the mediums quite a long distance if he doesn't want to stop again. Front five snaking through. Very close together. UJ finally breaking the order a little And going ahead of Jaden. Ninjas picks up a penalty. UJ's going to go for the lead here. UJ into the lead, the Williams. Before they reach the chicane, Joker making a move on Spoonie. And Senna making a move on Mr. Pickle. They've all happened at once, and now Jaden has passed Syme. It looks like the hard tyres are the ones coming into their own. UJ and Jaden both passing Syme on this lap. Joker ahead now of Spoonie. Senna ahead now of Mr. Pickle. Sloth is ahead of Ninjas as well. It all happened on the same lap. On to lap 12 of 27. UJ leads from Jaden. Colin speeding in the pit lane. Ninjas speeding in the pit lane. Both coming off the soft tyres. Both timing it a bit wrong. King Kong into the pits as well. Sainsy now up to P11. 50 Gent will go up to P12. Good stuff from him, having started last. Easy Life Al Newt also climbing, as is Brad, now back up to P15. King Kong down to last and into the lead when Jaden quickly. And now 3 wide. Maxwell, Simon, Swanton. And Jaden does retake the lead. Jaden retakes the lead. Max has taken 3rd from Syme. Swanton right in there as well. It's Jaden, UJ, Max, Syme, Swanton. Syme having led has now dropped to P4 and is going into the pits. Syme into the pits. So 11 laps on the mediums. That's going to mean hard tyres for him, as UJ has a look up the inside of Jaden. Sloth into the pits. Too early to go medium soft at this rate. Sloth and Sainsy both in the pits. Sainsy hopefully won't suffer any double stack, as Simon's already on his way out. 50 Gents now in the top 10. Sloth's gone for softs. 50 Gent ahead of Syme. So Sloth, Collins surely made a mistake here. He's definitely on a 2-stopper, as UJ retakes the lead. UJ retakes the lead from Jaden. Then it's Max, Swanton. And Jaden's going to retake it again. Jaden back up the inside for the lead. Sainsy picks up a penalty. Colin, I'm sure, was on softs to start with, so now we'll have to stop again. Brad, after being right at the back, is now up to 13th. Syme retaking P9 from 50 Gent. And into the pits comes Max World. Max World into the pits. Where's he going to come back out? Let's see. Medium tyres for him. In fact, he started on medium tyres, did he not? I'm not sure if I'm getting some glitching here with the tyre choices, because I'm sure Max started on mediums and I'm sure Colin started on softs. So that would mean having to stop again, both of them. Max comes out in front of Syme. Colin set the fastest lap of the race and is up to P13 ahead of Al Newt. And UJ is retaking the lead from Jaden. Spoonie gets past Joker once again. He's up in P4 at the moment. Mr. Pickle and Senna going at it again. P6 for Mr. Pickle now. Jaden retakes the lead. It's all happening all at once at the moment, and I'm struggling to keep up. These two, I'm sure, will be trying to stay out long enough to go on softs. Some of them have already come out on softs. That'll be a long stint for them. And into the pits comes Jaden. Spoonie also into the pits. UJ leads now from Swanton. Joker comes through to take P3. Senna into the pits. So Mr. Pickle will come through now to P4. Spoonie going for softs. Jaden for mediums. Senna in as well for softs. Jaden has come out behind Max and Syme in P7. Spoonie's rejoined just ahead of his teammate Colin. Good evening, Adkins, in the chat. We'll be seeing Adkins on the grid in Monaco. Do tune in at 10 PM once we're finished here in France. Syme closing in on Max. And Syme's going to get the move. And up to P5 goes Syme ahead of Max. Into the pits now is UJ. As Spoonie took 50 gent for the lead of the Pro-Am. The front three all in the pits. UJ, Swanton, Joker. Mr. Pickle will go through to take the lead, I think. Joker goes hard tyres. Swanton softs. UJ mediums. Mr. Pickle takes the lead. Where is Syme and Jaden? They're going to go past all of them. And Jaden takes P2. Syme into P3. Max into P4. Ahead of UJ. Swanton. Spoonie into P7 ahead of Joker, who's got 50 gent, and Colin just behind him. It's an Aston Martin 1-2 at the moment. Mr. Pickle leads, having not pit. Jaden is second, but has Syme and Max right on his tail. UJ, the big loser at the pit stops, I think. He is in P5 from Swanton in P6. Colin now passes 50 gent for P9. 50 making the tyres work. Is Brad going to have to pit again? Or is he going to last another 11 laps on the mediums? It looks unlikely. Started on hards and then got damage. 50 gent and Al Newt, along with Mr. Pickle, yet to pit in this race. Here goes Smug up the inside of Skippy. And that's a position for him. I'm sure Max and Colin have got to pit again. Here's Mr. Pickle into the pits. So Jaden into the lead. Syme, Maxwell, UJ. Jaden sets the fastest lap of the race as he retakes the lead. Mr. Pickle is going to rejoin in 10th place. 50 gent in the pits as well. Mr. Pickle right down to P13. Make that 14, 15, 16, 60, 17. As he's come up behind a whole heap of traffic. King Kong, Skippy, Sainsy, Smug. Al Newt and 50 Gent also in the pits. As Maxwell takes Simon, UJ takes Simon but picks up a penalty. Penalty for UJ. Sloth making a move on Brad, just as Brad's made it back to the top 10. Sainsey on Smug, King Kong on Skippy. Oh, they're piling into the chicane. They're piling into the chicane and contact, and off went Skippy and King Kong. There were about 4 of them going into there at once. That was never going to work. And Skippy and King Kong came out the worst of it. Sainsey and Smug still side by side. And Smug defends. Mr. Pickle now trying to pick his way back through the field. UJ up to second. I've just got to check something on Race Director here, folks. I think Max and Colin have not used the appropriate tyre sets. Colin, soft. Max, I can't see because of my face. Medium. Indeed. The 2 of them, according to my screen, have got to pit again. We think Brad will have to pit again. Colin and Max, according to my screen, have not used 2 different tyre compounds and may have to pit again. That could be a glitch on the game at my end, though. Mr. Pickle passes Sainsey, going to try and pass Smug as well. And it's 2 for the price of 1 for Mr. Pickle. Sainsey and Smug going into the chicane together. And Smug stays ahead of Sainsey. Mr. Pickle coming out right into all that traffic. It's cost him quite a bit of time, as he's now got 6 seconds to try and find on Ninjas and Brad. Senna and Sloth chasing Colin. They've spread out a little bit from earlier on. Jaden leads by a second and a half from UJ, who's got Max and Syme still on his case, and of course a 3-second penalty to serve. To be added at the end of the race. Ninjas, he's picked up quite a few penalties. We'll just check, he's on 11. Skippy's on 14. Colin's got 8. And potentially another pit stop to make. 6 for Sainsey, 3 for King Kong, for Easy Life, and crucially for UJ. So Skippy approaching the So Solid Crew award for getting 21 seconds of penalties. He's on 14 at the moment. And Colin has lost a few places there. All at once. Colin lost to Sloth and Senna there. Syme still on the case of Max, who's now dropped away from UJ. Swanton can't make an impression at the moment on his soft tyres, though he is getting within the time to try and get some DRS help. Spoonie, the Pro-Am leader, is absolutely cruising that race. He's P6 at the moment. His nearest Pro-Am rival is down in P12 as Senna goes round the outside of Sloth for P8. The 2 promoted from Pro-Am, Senna mid-season, and then Sloth, the Pro-Am champion. Then it's Colin and Brad. Ninjas is P2 in the Pro-Ams, and Sainsey P3 at the moment as Max and Syme gets the move for P3 on Max. And look at Swanton now, he's right involved again. Lap 20 of 27. Senna leading Sloth and Colin. Sloth having a look. Nothing doing that time. Swanton is now right in there with Max and Syme. And in fact he's having a look. 50 Gent passes Easy Life towards the back of the field. Didn't work for any of them three going long in terms of climbing up the field. UJ back within a second now of Jayden. And crucially, almost the 3 seconds that he needs ahead of Syme. Max and Swanton close in behind. Big gap to Spoonie, who's dropped Joker now. Senna also a big gap behind, but has Sloth and Colin right in with him. Brad, who's got Ninjas for company. Brad now 18 laps in on those mediums. Can he make them last to the end? And potentially get in the points with Colin and Max still possibly to pit, as well as Colin having a penalty. Max and Swanton battling away. UJ now closes right up to Jayden. Don't know if Jayden made a mistake, but UJ's now right up behind him, almost into the back of him even. Ninjas passes Brad, who may be about to give up on that long stint. Sainsy passes King Kong. And that could still be a podium battle in the Pro-Am. We'll stick with the leaders for a brief second. Mr. Pickle picks up a penalty. UJ looking up the inside. Nothing doing this time, but UJ is really fired up for this now. He's got the over the 3 seconds he needs to stay ahead of Syme. Swanton closes on Max again. UJ will follow Jayden into the straight and get DRS here. Surely up the inside, UJ is going to retake the lead from Jayden. UJ last week's winner. Swanton went deep there, very deep for Swanton as he looked for a way past Max and Syme. Jayden closing back in on UJ in the battle for the lead. Surely if Max does have to pit again, then he'll do so shortly. Colin similarly, as Sloth closes in on Senna. Mr. Pickle has now caught Brad, who is struggling on these tyres now, and Mr. Pickle takes P12 from Brad, and he'll now get after Ninjas. And it's not going to take him long, I don't think, to get past Ninjas as well. Mr. Pickle showing good pace on the soft tyres. Is Swanton going to get to Max this time? No. Mr. Pickle does get past Ninjas. Smug now has caught up with King Kong and Sainsy, and without a penalty, Real Max World into P3 ahead of Syme. Smug without a penalty could well be on for a Pro-Am podium here. Spoonie the leader, as you see Swanton trying to make a move on Syme, who's still not given up on Max. battle for the podium. Smug passes Sainsy. And with King Kong's penalties, Smug is in net P3 for the Pro-Ams. Here they go with DRS, Syme and Swanton. Syme goes to the outside. And I see rain. It's beginning to rain. Could this throw a cat amongst the pigeons? It's starting to rain with just 3 and a bit laps left. The rain is coming in France. Sainzy's back in the pits. Is he going to gamble for Inters? Smug up to P15 now. Skippy also in the pits. And Jaden takes the lead. Jaden takes the lead. Maxwell, Syme, Swanton all go through the chicane together. Maxwell back into P3. Swanton trying to get a run on Syme. Swanton still trying to get a run on Syme. Syme trying to battle. UJ and Jaden having a scrap for the lead. It's all action. The rain is coming down in France. But are we going to get to the end of the race without needing the Inters? Sainsy and Skippy hope it really rains. They've gone for Inters. Max is in the pits. We knew he had to. We knew Max had to. Spoonie's in the pits. Inters for Max. Where is Max going to rejoin? Spoonie. Sloth is in the pits and speeding for a penalty. Colin in the pits. We knew he had to as well. Brad's in the pits. We thought so. It's going to be a mix here of Inters. Are the Inters going to be the choice? Max hopes so. He's joining in P7 ahead of Mr. Pickle. Meanwhile, UJ takes the lead and Swanton finally gets past Syme. Let's see, is Mr. Pickle going to get to Max, or is Max going to be able to drive away and catch Senna? A thrilling end to this race. Jaden and UJ still scrapping for the lead. UJ with that penalty that's going to cost him the win anyway, but at the moment is not going to cost him any more. Swanton now P3 from Syme. Max is closing the gap to Senna, but only quite slowly. And Mr. Pickle Ninja's trying to cling to the back of him. Has Spoonie thrown it away with a pit stop? Ninjas has 11 seconds, so Spoonie will still be the Pro-Am leader. 2 laps to go. Syme trying to get back to Swanton. Max not making much impression on Senna. But he's getting away a bit from Mr. Pickle. The intermediate runners, I think, are going to need a bit more time than we've got. Jaden retakes the lead. Syme retakes third. Brilliant scrap between last season's championship rivals Syme and Swanton. Brilliant scrap between UJ and Jaden. Joker has had quite a quiet race, but he's currently P5. Senna P6 similarly. Mr. Pickle making a move on Max, sorry. The Inter's not going to be the way to go. The rain not coming down as heavily as they need it. Mr. Pickle trying to get a move on Max. He's got a penalty which would probably neutralise that anyway. We're on the final lap, the leaders. As Swanton chases Syme, Max hasn't made enough impression on Senna. But of course he had to pit again anyway, Max. As did Spoonie. And the rest of them were just gambling because they were too far back. Jayden looks to have the victory. UJ will close on him again, but has the penalty. UJ's going to make a dive for it. No, he isn't. Is Swanton going to be able to make a move? No, he isn't. Mr. Pickle, is he going to get a move on Max World? Ninja's also there. King Kong closing in, and Mr. Pickle's out! Out goes Mr. Pickle! On the last lap, Mr. Pickle's out! The last lap sees the end of Mr. Pickle. The bad luck continuing from last season. And he's going to be the only DNF, I think. Jayden wins. UJ in second. Syme is going to come home for third. With Swanton in fourth. Joker, a great race for him in P5. Senna will take P6. Then it's going to be Max in P7. Ninjas will come home in P8 but won't keep it. As Spoonie takes another Pro-Am victory. Ninjas keeps P9. Smug and P2 for Ninjas in the Pro-Am. Smug takes P10 from King Kong and the Pro-Am third. King Kong P11 from 50 Gent. Al Newt, Easy Life, who ended up climbing from staying out. Brad in P15 ahead of Sloth. Then Colin, Sainsey and Skippy yet to come across the line. Won't show me the penalties now. So Skippy comes across the line, 19 complete, and poor old Mr. Pickle DNFs on the last lap. But it's a win for Jayden. 50 Gent, the driver of the day, according to the game. Starting at the back of the field and coming through. Jayden takes the win. UJ P2 keeps the championship lead, and Syme takes P3. Fastest lap as well for Jayden. P4 for Swanton, 5 for Joker, 6 for Senna, 7 for Max World, whose strategy didn't quite work out. Spoonie P8 and another Pro-Am win ahead of Ninjas P9 and P2 in the Pro-Am. Good points for AlphaTauri and good points for Ferrari with Smug in P10 and P3 of the Pro-Am. Then it was King Kong, 50 Gent. From the back to P12. Al Newt, Easy Life. A bad day for Brad Mason, who only finished 15th. Then Sloth, Colin, Sainsey, Skippy and the unfortunate Mr. Pickle, classified as a lap down after DNFing on the final lap. The time now is 9:20. We will be back at 10 p.m. for Blobby Mondays at Monaco, a short hop away from this race in France. I will be back next week with the next race in the DRS season. Until then, I've been Blobby Butler. This has been DRS Mondays. I'll see you in about 3/4 an hour for Monaco Blobby Mondays. Until then, thank you very much for watching and good night.